this is probably the most unique franchise concept that I've had on the show in the year plus that we've been doing this. So let's start out, Brad, telling us what in the world is Fowling Warehouse.
Well, bowling, the sport of bowling is a mix between, horseshoes, bowling, and football, to simplify it. So essentially, you have your boards set up, spaced apart, with full sets of bowling pins on each side, and then teams on either side. And the goal is, with one football, for the opposing team to knock down the opponent's pins before they knock all of yours down, throwing the ball back and forth.
This sounds like it could get really competitive. And I know back in the day with my friends, it would have got aggressive.
Oh, if you have an ounce of competition in your body, you're going to love Fowling.
Is there anything more American than Fowling?
I don't think so.
It's like, it shouldn't just be hot dogs, baseball, apple pie. It's got to be hot dogs, Fowling, and apple pie.
We're lobbying for that right now. Trying to amend that. So we'll see what we can do, but...
That's great. All right, Brad, tell us, first of all, how did this whole thing come to be? This is a fairly new sport, I imagine. I've never heard of it. So how did this whole thing originate?
So, way back in over 20 years ago, let's just say, a group of friends and I, we all go to the Indy 500. That's kind of our holiday. Every Memorial Day, we go to the race. Because, most of us are from Detroit, Detroiters are very inventive. So whenever we would show up at our tailgate, our neighbors were always waiting to go, what are the boys from Detroit showing up with this year? Be it a 13-foot tall Plinko board or rubber duck races that are mirrored like the Indy Speedway, or you name it, always something. So one year we decided, well, let's just build a bowling alley in the middle of our tailgate. Why not? So we built this great bowling alley, and things were going just fine until we realized there's no ball catchment system. So suddenly we're whizzing 16-pound bowling balls into the neighbor's tailgate. That didn't go over too well. So fast forward, we put the bowling balls away. That evolves into, some tailgating shenanigans of larger gentlemen on mini bikes riding down the bowling alley, taking out the bowling pins, just good fun tailgating stuff.
Okay, I love that.
So later in the day, we're playing catch with a football. An errant football goes over someone's head, boom, hits the bowling pins. Well, we all looked at each other, and onto our school bus we went, sat down, and hashed out the rules of Fowling. And bowling was born then.
Was there alcohol involved during these writing up of the rules of Fowling?
Frank, there may have been. I have no response to that. But let's just say tailgating, and yeah, there actually, I will just to be fully transparent. Rule number one when Fowling was invented: if you're not drinking, you're cheating. So we've evolved away from that, and the official rules are a little bit different. But yeah, that was on the rule list back in the day.
Okay, so there's a group of you. You're having a great time. You're writing up the rules of this game. You have no vision yet for what this is going to turn into, right?
No, it's just something fun. So we left Indy that year, and our founder, Chris Hutt, really was like, guys, this is so cool. So he used to just keep Fowling boards in his truck, pins in his truck, footballs, and every Lions tailgate or a concert at our local concert theater, Pine Knob, he would show up and set up Fowling boards. And folks would just flock to him. What is this? I want to play. Can I get involved somehow, some way? So after years of just taking Fowling around and having fun with it, we all started kind of discussing internally, I wonder if this is something that we could actually monetize. So being Detroit back in the day, kind of dipped our toe in the water and rented an abandoned toy warehouse. It basically the most dangerous zip code in the United States at the time. We acquired 14,000 square feet for $1,000, and the landlord was like, okay, best of luck to you guys. And he set up some Fowling boards and just said, all right, let's see what happens. BYOB, if people will show up. Great. And the first night 100 people showed up at $10 a head, we covered rent. Huh. How about that? So we had that going for a couple of years, and it kept growing and growing and growing in popularity. This is kind of more of an underground thing to do in Detroit, you know?
Right. This has like a speakeasy feel to it.
Exactly. Special knock. Yeah, all of the above. So eventually, after a couple of years, the neighborhood realized what was going on. And let's just say some of the nefarious folks around the neighborhood were definitely coming to check things out. And it was time to move. But at that point in time, we said, all right, I think we can do this. So we acquired a warehouse in 2014, a square foot warehouse in Hamtramck, which is a neighborhood of Detroit. And opened our first warehouse with a liquor license and completely legitimized it. And it was immediately a hit. We were on Discovery Channel and all kinds of different media outlets throughout the years with folks just like, wow, this is so cool. Wow. And I kind of attribute it like we found an opportunity, we developed it. And in a way, this is kind of what, as we've grown up or as people grow up, we hear about this American dream. Mm-hmm. This is kind of the American dream, stumbling across something, developing it, and turning it into something that is an outlet for people that can have fun, competition, and put away those screens for a few minutes and really enjoy themselves as human beings, which we're so connected to our screens these days. That's harder and harder for people to do.
Yeah. What year was this? You guys opened the large warehouse?
We opened in 2014. We're actually in a couple of weeks, we'll be celebrating our 10-year anniversary there.
My goodness, that's amazing. Now, I would imagine, since my original background in sports is running an adult men's softball league in New York, in Long Island. Okay. And so when I first franchised my concept, one of the big pushbacks I got from people was, can you really make money doing this? Nobody really understood. So I would imagine there's a level of similarity here between both of our companies, since it's adult sports, and can I really see this thing working? Is that one of the thoughts behind this for people when they were even looking at this? I'm talking before franchising. Were you guys really thinking about expanding this? Can we really make money doing this on a large scale?
Yeah, that was obviously a big part of it. Hey, we can't just, throw the money away. We have to make this work. And luckily, with a lot of hard work, just trying to revamp a 106-year-old warehouse in Detroit. Used to be the old Dana Convell axle factory. So let's just say it took a lot of work and a lot of sweat equity to do that, because we didn't quite have the budget to just pay somebody to come in and build it out. So a lot of it was done with family, friends, and sweat equity to get the doors open in that pulling warehouse.
All right, so you guys are working along. Everything is moving and grooving. You guys are growing. What were you doing full time during this period?
I was actually in California. My previous career prior to running the franchise program, I was in infrastructure development for the major wireless carriers, working on special coverages, like the development of 5G for Verizon and special events like Super Bowls and things like that. So I was 27 years in infrastructure development out west.
Okay, and then who has the idea? Hey guys, we should franchise this. When's that defining moment? Where does this come into place?
When we just started really seeing the numbers that were coming out of the Detroit location, we said, hey, I think this is something that we could do. So for a while there was a lot of just brainstorming and if you will, board meetings to kind of lay out the groundwork for that. And then in 2018, we ended up opening up Fowling Franchise LLC and starting the franchise program.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.